Ladies and gentlemen, self-doubt is one of the most dangerous forces we face, not because it's loud or violent, but because it's quiet, consistent, and convincing. It doesn't knock down your door or announce its arrival. It sneaks in through your thoughts, your fears, your past failures, and even through the words of others. It's an invisible enemy that shapes your choices, limits your risks, and keeps you locked in a version of yourself that is far smaller than who you truly are. Most people don't even realize how early self-doubt takes root. It starts when we compare ourselves to others. When someone else seems more talented, more successful, more confident, and suddenly we start measuring our worth against their highlight reel, that comparison creates cracks in our self-belief. Over time, those cracks widen, and if we're not careful, they become permanent walls that we start to live behind. You tell yourself you're not ready, not smart enough, not strong enough, not worthy. And the saddest part is, after hearing those thoughts long enough, you start to believe them. Self-doubt is powerful because it doesn't need proof to survive. It feeds off hesitation. Every time you hold back from speaking up, every time you stop yourself from trying something new, every time you tell yourself maybe later, it grows stronger. It lives in your hesitation and thrives in your silence. But what you have to understand is that doubt is not a truth. It's a test of whether you believe in your potential more than your fear. There's a reason why the people who succeed are not always the most talented or the most educated. They're the ones who dared to believe in themselves even when no one else did. They understood that self-doubt doesn't vanish overnight. It must be faced day by day, decision by decision. They didn't wait for the fear to disappear. They moved through it. That's the difference, and that's what sets the self-made apart from those who stay stuck. It's important to ask yourself, where is this doubt coming from? Is it yours, or did someone hand it to you? Was it a parent who told you to be realistic? A teacher who made you feel small? A society that only celebrates perfection and dismisses the process? Sometimes we carry voices in our head that don't belong to us, and those voices become the limits we place on our lives. But just because you've carried those voices for years doesn't mean you have to keep holding them. You can put them down. The first step to becoming self-made is not building a business, chasing a dream, or hitting a goal. The first step is reclaiming your mind. It's standing up to that quiet voice inside that says you're not enough and replying with one stronger. Watch me. It's choosing to believe in a version of yourself that you haven't even met yet, but you're willing to fight for. The journey from self-doubt to self-made begins the moment you stop letting fear be the loudest voice in your life. It begins the moment you decide that you were made for more and you're no longer willing to settle for less, not from the world and not from yourself. That decision doesn't make everything easier, but it makes everything possible. And that's where your story starts. Not in the absence of doubt, but in the refusal to let it win. The power to change your life begins with the way you think. The thoughts that run through your mind shape your beliefs, your feelings, and ultimately your actions. When you're stuck in self-doubt, your inner voice is often your worst enemy, constantly feeding you negative messages that hold you back. But what if you could change that voice? What if you could rewire your thoughts to empower yourself instead of defeat you? This is the true power of shifting your inner dialogue. Our minds are wired to follow patterns. If you spent years telling yourself you're not good enough, your brain starts to believe it. That belief then influences how you approach challenges, how you interact with others, and what risks you're willing to take. This is why self-doubt feels so real and so permanent. It's the result of repeated thoughts becoming hardwired. But the good news is, your brain is also incredibly adaptable. It can be trained to think differently, to replace the negative with the positive, the limiting with the empowering. The process of shifting your inner voice isn't about pretending everything is perfect or ignoring your fears. It's about becoming aware of the thoughts that are holding you back and deliberately choosing new ones. It means catching yourself when the doubt creeps in and asking, is this true or is it just fear talking? This act of questioning your own thoughts is the first step toward changing them. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. You see what's really there and can decide what to do next. Rewiring your thoughts takes discipline. It requires practice and patience because the negative voice is persistent. Every time you notice a self-doubting thought, replace it with a truth that empowers you. For example, if your mind says, I'm not ready, you respond, I'm learning. And every step makes me stronger. If it says I'll never be good enough, you remind yourself, I am enough right now and I'm improving every day. These small changes might feel awkward at first, but over time they create new neural pathways in your brain, making positive thinking more natural and automatic. Your environment plays a huge role in shaping your inner voice as well. The people you surround yourself with, the media you consume, and the conversations you engage in all influence your mindset. If your environment reinforces doubt and negativity, it becomes much harder to shift your thoughts. On the other hand, when you surround yourself with supportive, encouraging people and fill your mind with inspiring messages, your new mindset takes root faster. It's not just about positive thinking, it's about intentional thinking. Another important part of this mindset shift is embracing vulnerability. Changing your inner voice means admitting you don't have all the answers, that you will make mistakes, and that you are willing to grow. Vulnerability is not a weakness, it's a strength because it opens the door to learning and progress. When you accept your imperfections and see them as opportunities rather than failures, your inner dialogue becomes kinder, more patient, and more constructive. Shifting your mindset is a journey, not a destination. There will be days when the old doubts return and the negative voice feels louder. That's normal. What matters is that you keep choosing a new way of thinking each time. Over time, this persistent effort changes how you see yourself and your potential. You move from reacting to fear to responding with confidence. You stop letting your doubts define you and start defining yourself by your actions and your growth. Rewiring your thoughts leads to a life where you are in control, not your fears or your doubts. It creates a foundation of self-belief that fuels your courage and resilience. This shift is the gateway from being held back by uncertainty to becoming unstoppable in your pursuit of purpose. When you master your inner voice, you master the mindset that shapes your destiny. Motivation is a powerful feeling. It gives you energy, a spark, a rush that makes you want to jump out of bed and chase your dreams. But motivation is also fickle. It comes and goes, often disappearing right when you need it most. That's why relying on motivation alone to fuel your journey from self-doubt to self-made is a dangerous game. What truly moves you forward is discipline, the ability to keep showing up even when motivation fades. Discipline is about commitment. It's about doing what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel in the moment. It means pushing through discomfort, resisting distractions, and staying focused on the long-term goal. Discipline doesn't wait for the perfect mood or the ideal circumstance. It demands action whether you're inspired or tired, confident or unsure. When you understand the difference between motivation and discipline, you unlock a new level of power. Motivation is the spark, but discipline is the fire that keeps burning. Motivation might get you started, but discipline keeps you going day after day, week after week, even when results aren't immediate or visible. It's what separates those who dream from those who achieve. Building discipline means creating routines and habits that support your growth. It means planning your day, setting clear priorities, and sticking to your schedule. Discipline is showing up at the gym even when your body aches. It's writing that chapter even when your mind wants to quit. It's practicing the skill you want to master regardless of the frustration or boredom that might come with repetition. One of the most powerful aspects of discipline is that it turns small, consistent actions into massive results over time. You don't have to be perfect every day. You just have to be consistent. Just 5 minutes a day of focused work can add up to years of progress. The person who is disciplined understands that progress is a marathon, not a sprint. They're patient, persistent, and willing to grind through the hard days. Discipline also protects you from the traps of distraction and procrastination. In a world full of endless options and constant noise, it's easy to lose focus or give in to instant gratification. Discipline is the ability to say no to what's easy and yes to what's important. It's the muscle that helps you resist scrolling endlessly on your phone, skipping your workout, or avoiding the tough conversations you need to have. Another vital part of discipline is self-awareness. It's knowing your weaknesses and creating systems that support your success. For example, if you know you struggle to get out of bed early, discipline might mean setting multiple alarms, or going to bed earlier. If you find it hard to stay focused, it might mean working in short bursts or eliminating distractions. Discipline is not about willpower alone. It's about smart strategies that make good habits easier to maintain.
But discipline is not about being harsh with yourself. It's about respect for your goals and a deep understanding that the effort you put in today shapes your tomorrow. It's about showing up with kindness for yourself, even when you stumble. Sometimes discipline means recognizing when you need rest or recalibration, then getting back on track with renewed focus.
Discipline is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. It's what turns vague hopes into concrete achievements. While motivation may ignite your desire, discipline fans the flames so they never burn out. If you want to move from self-doubt to self-made, you have to commit to the daily grind. You have to choose discipline over excuses, action over delay, and persistence over surrender. The difference between where you are now and where you want to be isn't luck or talent. It's the discipline to keep going when motivation runs dry. That mindset is what builds legacies. That mindset is what creates success. And that mindset is waiting for you to claim it. Failure is not the end. It is not a full stop. It is a comma, a pause that invites you to take a breath, learn, and then move forward with more wisdom. Yet, the fear of failure is one of the most common reasons people never start, never try, and never become who they're meant to be. We see failure as something to avoid, something to be ashamed of, but the truth is that failure is a critical part of any journey towards success and becoming self-made. When you fall, it hurts. It can shake your confidence, your faith, and your belief in yourself. But falling doesn't mean you're broken or weak. It means you're human and you're growing. Every successful person has a story filled with setbacks, mistakes, and moments where everything seemed to be falling apart. What separates them is not the absence of failure, but the response to it. They fall forward. They use failure as fuel. Falling forward means you don't just fail and stay down. It means you learn something from each fall. You analyze what went wrong. You adjust your strategy and you get back up with a new plan. This mindset turns failure into feedback and feedback into progress. It changes your relationship with failure from enemy to teacher. The idea of resilience is deeply tied to this. Resilience isn't about never breaking. It's about bending without snapping. It's about being flexible in the face of challenges and strong enough to stand back up every time you're knocked down. Resilience grows each time you push through pain, disappointment, or rejection and keep moving forward anyway. When you embrace failure as part of the process, you stop fearing it. You stop letting it control your decisions. You understand that failure is not a reflection of your worth, but a stepping stone on your path. This shift in perspective is powerful because it frees you to take risks, to try new things, and to stretch beyond your comfort zone without being paralyzed by what if. There is also courage in failure. It takes courage to face the possibility of failing head on and still move forward. It takes courage to be vulnerable, to admit mistakes, and to grow from them. When you build the courage to fail forward, you build the confidence to keep going no matter what life throws at you. The journey from self-doubt to self-made requires you to reframe your view of failure. Instead of avoiding failure, you learn to embrace it, to see it as a natural part of growth. Each setback becomes a lesson, each disappointment a chance to improve, and each no a step closer to yes. This process is not easy. It demands patience and persistence. It demands that you look at yourself honestly and commit to growing even when it's uncomfortable. Failure also teaches humility. It reminds you that no one has it all figured out, that everyone stumbles. This humility keeps you grounded and open to learning. It helps you connect with others who are on their own journeys, building empathy and support networks that can carry you through tough times. In the end, falling forward is about mindset. It's about deciding that your story will not be defined by your failures, but by how you respond to them. It's about knowing that each fall is an opportunity to rise stronger, smarter, and more determined. When you carry this mindset, failure loses its power to stop you and instead becomes the very thing that pushes you towards success. So when you face failure, and you will, remember this. It's not the fall that matters most. It's what you do after you hit the ground. Stand up, learn, adjust, move forward, because that's the true path from self-doubt to self-made. Becoming self-made is not just about achieving external success or financial independence. It's about owning your identity from the inside out. At the core of this transformation lies a deep understanding and acceptance of who you are, your purpose, your values, your authenticity. When you truly own your identity, you step into your power and align your actions with your truest self, creating a life that reflects your unique potential and passion. Many people spend years trying to fit in the molds designed by society, family, or peers. They chase goals that aren't theirs or live by standards that don't resonate with their soul. This disconnect creates internal conflict and keeps self-doubt alive. Owning your identity means breaking free from these external expectations and defining success on your own terms. It means listening to the voice inside that knows what truly matters to you, even when it goes against the crowd.
Purpose is a powerful force in this journey. When you have a clear sense of why you do what you do, it fuels your resilience and sharpens your focus. Purpose gives meaning to your struggles and setbacks, transforming them from obstacles into stepping stones. It's the North Star that guides you when the path gets uncertain. But finding purpose requires introspection, courage, and honesty. It asks you to look beyond surface desires and dig into what makes you feel alive, fulfilled, and connected.
Authenticity goes hand in hand with purpose. Being authentic means showing up as your true self in every area of life, without masks or pretenses. It's about embracing your strengths and weaknesses, your passions and fears, and bringing all of that to your work and relationships. Authenticity creates a foundation of trust, not just with others, but with yourself. When you live authentically, you don't waste energy trying to be someone else or seeking approval. Instead, you operate from a place of confidence that you are enough just as you are. Owning your identity also means developing a mindset of ownership and responsibility. It means accepting that your life is the result of your choices and that you have the power to change your story. This mindset shifts you from being a victim of circumstance to being the author of your own life. It calls for accountability, not in a harsh or judgmental way, but as a way of empowering yourself to learn, grow, and evolve. Faith, whether in yourself, a higher power, or the process of life, is another crucial component. Faith sustains you during times of uncertainty and fuels your belief that things can and will get better. It encourages patience and persistence, reminding you that becoming self-made is a journey, not an overnight achievement. Faith allows you to trust the process, even when the results aren't immediately visible. The journey to owning your identity isn't always easy. It requires confronting fears, doubts, and old stories that no longer serve you. It means standing firm when others question your choices or don't understand your vision. But the reward is profound, a life where your work feels meaningful, your relationships feel genuine, and your sense of self feels unshakable. When you own your identity, you also inspire others. Authenticity and purpose are contagious. People are drawn to those who live with integrity and passion. By being true to yourself, you create space for others to do the same. This creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond your own life.
Becoming self-made is about becoming whole. It's about integrating every part of who you are, your dreams, your struggles, your values, into a life that reflects your deepest truth. It's a mindset that empowers you to move beyond self-doubt, overcome obstacles, and build something that lasts.
So as you walk this path, remember, the most important foundation you can build is the one inside you. When you own your identity with clarity, courage, and authenticity, you become unstoppable. Your life becomes not just a story of success, but a legacy of purpose and truth. The journey from self-doubt to self-made is not a straight path or a quick fix. It is a mindset transformation, a commitment to believing in yourself, rewiring your thoughts, showing up with discipline, embracing failure as a teacher, surrounding yourself with uplifting influences, and owning your true identity with courage and authenticity. Each step you take, no matter how small, brings you closer to the life you were meant to live. The power to change your story lies within you. So rise up, face your doubts head on, and become the self-made person you were always meant to be. Your future starts now.